YouTube, Awesome Rider here. Welcome to my review for a peach sitting on the ground. Awesome Rider here. Welcome to my review for the Don Momotaro Alter. This is a transforming figure line done in the class of the Change Heroes, kind of inspired by last year's Kikanoid figures that could transform into their robot forms and their animal forms. And this is kind of an alter edition, like alternate version of a mecha line. Like, we're still going to get mecha later, and we have one now, but this is sort of replacing it for right now as a different gimmick, even though as of this recording he's only transformed into a tiny bot. But effectively they're transformable mini robots in the class of the Change Heroes line, and I'm starting it out in his alternate little peach totem form here, which, to be honest, is my least favorite thing about this figure. Like, it's not being 100% lined up right. You can finagle it to get it a little bit better, but unfortunately the problem with mine is the loose joints on this thing. Both the loose joints for the legs, which you have to use for transformation, and the little peg here connecting the top and bottom halves are very loose, so whenever I'm trying to finagle it, it either slides out of place or falls apart, which is very frustrating. So I decided to start in this mode, because effectively all you're doing is taking his arms, closing them up here like this, pulling these out, and then you just finagle his legs into basically a sitting for story time position. And I don't know, I think that they could have done better. I see what they're going for, but this definitely feels like it's from the class of design of Zenkaiser, where they're like, okay, well, so long as we do what we want to in terms of how it functions, it doesn't matter how it looks. I feel like if they just took some more time with this, they could have made something a lot cooler and a little bit more concise. But this is the mode you start with. Like I said, when you're transforming it, you're effectively just finagling his legs into this crossed mode. See, it comes out so easily. Then when you're putting it up, you're just, bending it upwards into that form. So it's pretty easy to transform. The most difficult part is just, again, how loose these joints are to deal with. That your mileage may vary on that. Yours might not be as loose as mine, or it could be more loose, but it's definitely something to be aware of. If you have any degree of loose joints around here with the transformation, the more you work with it, the more loose it might get over time. And then up here you can see, like, the arms are up here, and unfortunately on this one too, I can't remember which one it is, but one of these arm joints here is a little bit loose as well. But you just separate this, and here's the head, and then you can see how you can reverse engineer that. It's very simple. I think the main point of this is to have this cool little robot, and I kind of wish they had just stuck with that, because like this mode for me just kind of aggravates the looseness, and I just don't think it looks that cool and isn't all that fun. I kind of wish they had just left this as like, hey, look, it's just a robot, it doesn't matter, and then do the transformation for the gimmicks. Because design-wise, he's actually not bad. On the one hand, I kind of wish he had a little bit different of a head sculpt, because it almost looks like it's just, him in a mech suit, which he's not, but it's a little too samey, and I kind of wish it was a little different. But overall, just in terms of the general design, I actually kind of dig him, and in terms of the look of the figure, it's pretty good. It's the same general quality of these figures in the Change Hero line, meaning it's not going to blow you away. It's not like a high-detailed figure art or SIC or something, but it has all the details it needs to, and I think proportionately it's fairly accurate to the show, and just in terms of a display piece, it's pretty solid. And it's got some decent articulation. You have that nice range of articulation on the legs, as you saw by being able to put him in the sitting position, and then a double knee joint there, you have a ball joint there, you can swivel at the waist, and you can pop his legs off like that, and you can just hop around like an idiot. And then on the arms, you get 360 movement here. You do have swiveling here. This will come off here, and it doesn't bend because of the nature of transformation, although I feel like they could have made it bend more and it still would have worked. But it's like you have decent articulation here, but it's a little bit hindered there, which kind of sucks. And you can move the head back and forth. But you can get pretty much par for the course articulation going on here. On the back here, this is a little additional piece. This is separate when you get it. You just put it on here so that you can place gears on the back. The main one is going to obviously be the gear for this transformation, which comes with one of the sets. This is the one that comes with the Tokuger Alter, but that's why that piece is there, and it's easier just to store that on the back. He also does come with his sword here. It's basically just a black piece of plastic with a gear on it. But you can have him holding that. And like I mentioned, unfortunately, it does have loose joints, which can be a little bit of a problem in terms of posing it and a feeling of quality. But other than that, it looks pretty decent. I brought him in before, but in case you wanted scale, here he is just next to your standard Change Hero figure, so you can see the scale there. I'm definitely glad that he's not just him in a mecha suit, because when I first saw the initial pictures and pitch, I initially misunderstood, and I thought this was going to be armor pieces you put on him, and I didn't want to have to choose between which mode to put him in. But so overall, in terms of recommendation, I think this guy's a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Like, I like the way he looks. In terms of like, yes, I want a figure of this in my collection to represent it for the season. I like the way it looks. I'm happy with it for that. I think the transformation thing is a little bit half-baked. I think that a little bit more could have gone into it, and the transformation could have had some more like intuitive aspects to it, and it could have just been more interesting rather than like, look, this is what you basically do. Like, look, guys, he can transform too. Look, wait. His foot falls off just like his friend. Look, he's transformed. Like, that's basically what it's like. I feel like it could have been a lot more interesting, and I think with the feeling of quality with the loose joints, it kind of hinders that as well. And that's where I get to an interesting place talking about these, because for the price point, the level of quality that these feel like is right. It's different than when you get an expensive mecha and it feels cheap, because the level of quality of the plastic and everything feels in line. But with this, because it has the transforming gimmick, it can get even looser, and when you're transforming it, even in a simple transformation, it would frequently fall apart in my hands like the bootleg Turbo Man doll. And that is unfortunate, so I don't think it's fun for that. I think if you want this for a decently priced display piece, I can recommend it, but I can't really recommend it as far as the transformation goes. I wish there was something a little bit better. It's a little bit of a mixed bag for me. We'll kind of see where this line goes. You can pick this guy up individually, or you can pick him up in a set with the ToQger Alter, which will be reviewed next. And there are further alters based on past seasons that are going to be released, and it'll be interesting to see how all these designs stack up and how they might enhance this purchase too, because this is almost like, at the moment, your base level entry into another gimmick outside of the gears. But that's about it for this one, guys. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell to see notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.